Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So if you've finished chapter 84, you'll notice a new dungeon that's, hard, level 80 required. It is the Underworld, and it's very similar to the Garrelia dungeons, where you do need 2 green keys to run it. And I would say it's the most similar to the future Garrelia another dungeon. So first of all, when you walk in for the first time, you meet some interesting people, and they talk to you about being surprised that you're here and kind of exploring. And so you can see the background is the city of Nezric. And so when you first arrive, there are a lot of mysteries to solve. However, it's pretty straightforward as long as you continue running the dungeons. And so this video will be a compilation of the different stages that you can achieve and kind of explore as you run the dungeon. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So the present man is the first gentleman you'll meet, and he's the one that you're going to start off with in terms of your interactions with, as well as certain things you're going to buy in order to unlock further areas in the dungeon here. And so just remember that he asked for a ladder, and there's actually a shop here that sells different items, again very similar to the future Garrelia one, where you can buy certain things. Now the soul jewel I would recommend buying first. This is the one that you can basically warp between straw dummies, and so it makes walking around and exploring much easier, being that you can warp from different areas to the different floors of Nezric and so on and so forth. So first of all, the 0 point is the area you're going to explore all the time. Each and every time you run into the dungeon, you're going to collect these sea drifts, which again is very similar to when you collect those ores in the outside of the city of Angle. The enemies are exactly the same as the 0 point ones you've met on the way through the story, so bringing an all magic team would be sufficient. Clark AS again is MVP of this team, although some of the enemies as you explore further along are weak to other types of attacks like slash, earth, and so on and so forth. So again, whatever team you are using to finish the main story and had success with, I would recommend using that, especially as you see the different stages and areas here. And you can always retool depending on which dungeons you're planning to run as you explore further. But the end result is you do have to collect all these sea drift here, because you will need them to either purchase items in the city or eventually purchase so-called Lost Murals, aka Satellite Stadium tickets. And so if you guys remember Satellite Stadium from future Garrelia, you'll remember that you'll need 30 of an item, and you can buy them in order to get an increased chance of getting things like Jadeite, chance scripts, and of course your favorite, the high class scrolls. So you can see with the soul jewel, you can teleport anywhere that you've already visited in terms of the straw dummy. And you can talk to the different merchants. They do sell different things. Some of them will require 180 of the sea drift. Some of them will require either that, or you can use a specific dogu or cat dogu, which is very similar to the spirit stone fragments. And I'll show you that a little bit later in the video. Alright, so after you've run a few times, bought that jewel, and now you're going to buy the embedded ladder, you can go back to that present gentleman and talk to him, because he's going to use that ladder to further expand the areas you're in. You'll also need at least one of those special items, the aged mushrooms. There's actually one in particular for each of the 3 new areas, and so I'll kind of just explain it to you here. So I bought the aged mushroom first. Now you can see those exclamation marks. They are those dogs, and you can use them to clear them so that you can explore further. And each area has, I guess, 5. You can use 4 to kind of make your exploration in future runs faster, and there is one required one where you'll get a map for the whole area by which you can see all the exclamations, the paths, and so on and so forth. And as long as you run it a couple of times, you'll probably remember where the 4 chests in each dungeon are. Now, to my knowledge, this is going to be the same as future Garrelia. All 4 chests will only contain either crystals or fragments, and of course different areas will have the support life or attack. Otherwise, there is no chance of chat scripts here, so if you're busy or low on time, you can feel free to skip these 4 treasure chests, especially since some of them don't contain attack fragments. I know most of you are looking mostly for attack fragments over, say, fragments of support like in this area. Again, with these horrors, I would highly recommend having a half bar if you're able to take it down with like some powerful teams, and I'm sure you can let me know in the comments below what kind of teams you are bringing currently to this dungeon. Then, you know, that's all fine and good. But for myself, always using the Melissa strat where I build up a bar with, you know, just a few hits, and she makes my dungeon runs a lot easier, albeit a little bit slower, being her flash strike stance does take a couple of seconds to load the animation. So there's a slight downside to using that, but for my convenience, it's nice and easy, pretty low key. I'm sure a Tiramisu, AS Radika, or AS Tsubami, some other you know, one turn kills should be sufficient for this area as well. Anyways, continue wandering through. Make sure you do kill the horror, because the horror does drop those seed drifts, which you'll still need as currency to trade in, you know, to the various merchants for different items. Okay, we got the 4 different chests, and again, note that there are still 4 exclamation marks plus the exclamation mark for the exit of this particular area of the dungeon. Since I used up that 1 item to move the dog, I was able to get the map, as you know. Okay, so you can see that once you use the map, and so you've opened up a special room here, and you can see that there is a glowing purple orb. That is not accessible currently. However, if you do get 2 cat dogu, which again I will show you a little bit later on in the video, it's actually very random when it occurs. Again, very similar to the Spirit Stone fragments. Then you can trade them in to one of the merchants, and you'll get a special key that you can claim these items. And there actually are 1 special item, which is a piece of armor, total of 3 for the 3 different areas. Your 1 key that you will buy with the 2 cat dogu will be enough to unlock all 3 areas, provided you at least bought 1 of the items in the store to unlock that special area and get that wooden chest. And so this is just a demonstration of the 1 area, but all 3 areas will require at least 1 of those items to get rid of it. The bosses are no joke. They all have a few million HP, and they can easily end your fight or your you know, members' HP in 1 turn. We were just fortunate that Clark AS got hit, and remember, he starts with the hold ground, otherwise he'd be dead. So that is unfortunate. Now again, you'll need a 360 shadow or 360 light team, and remember to bring Altina, because you can farm her shadow here as well. Alright, so remember that we have the ladder that we just bought from the gentleman. So we have to make sure we find him in the room, and you can see there are different rooms on the 2nd floor of Nezric. And once you talk to him, he'll take the ladder and he will build that area for the next time. So it won't be accessible the same run that you traded in the embedded ladder. So it's the next time you'll go back there and you get it. Okay, so same thing. We're going to run through the 0 point. However, note that background is a little bit of, you can call it snow or sparkling soul fragments or whatever you want to call it. But this indicates that a special area has spawned in 0 point. So if you see it in the city of Nezric when you first come into the dungeon, it is all RNG. Not extremely common, although I was fortunate to have a couple of times. You'll have at the top of the 0 point an extra portal, and you get to the stairway of the arc, or where you can trade, automatically claim one of these, the cat dogu. So these are these rare area items, kind of similar to the cat shrine or the other things, where you'll trade them in for other things. All expensive things, all powerful grasta, and so on and so forth. Alright, so the mural fragment, as I mentioned earlier, is the ticket to the AKA Satellite Stadium. It's not called the Satellite Stadium, of course. It's something else, and you'll be actually heading down. So instead of going upstairs to the different various areas, you'll go downstairs. There's a stairway, and then you'll be able to access this new area. And again, the ticket or the mural fragment is consumed each and every time you use it, just like the satellite staying tickets. So the Dark Lord's tomb or tomb is where you're going to be using those. So very quickly, this area is pretty easy in terms of nice and short. You can see the map is fully exposed. There are 4 chests just like Satellite Stadium. The setup is very similar. Enemies are tougher just like before, level 100s, and the horror is level 110. And a reminder to kill the horror if you can for the sea drifts as well. So half bar AF or a powerful team should do it. And again, the enemies are similar to this, when you're exploring the Mark of God's tomb at the time. All right. So remember, if you haven't actually explored all those areas, so far, make sure you go back. You'll have to farm those materials and sparkles and stuff anyways to craft some of the new gear and some of the new weapons. And I'm in the process of slowly doing that while creating content and videos for you all. If you don't use a bar, you can clearly see that the boss can easily overwhelm you. And even with multi-hits, weren't able to kill everybody. And our team is pretty much dead, but we're going to squeeze through here. I think Clark is able to survive. Of course, he had that last stand or hold ground, and well, he made it through. Again, he's the MVP. I really do like AS Clark. He's a very powerful free character, and actually he's used for a lot of endgame strats as well. Anyways, moving on. Now that we've killed off the horror, barely, let's kill off the mobs one last time and enter the boss room. If you're wondering why I didn't use a bar against the horror, I wanted to save some time and see if I could just kill it off and save the half bar for the boss, but obviously didn't work out so well in my favor. One last chest right before, and let's move on in. So all the bosses are very reminiscent, obviously, of the storyline bosses. And you can see we're fighting the boss from chapter 83, aka Phantom Eden. Same thing, same weakness, same strengths as before. In this case, nothing to stop us from using this magic team, and we're just gonna shred it. And of course, with half bar AF, absolutely no problem at this point. Again, I realize that when I run dungeons, I'm not nearly as optimized as some of you out there. For me, I'm just kind of casually running through, but like I said before, I'm sure you all have more optimal comps team-wise than I do. That being said, as long as we can finish it quickly and hopefully not too much pain, that's all that really matters. Alright, so let's see what rewards we get this particular time. And there are a bunch of new badges, and here you can also have the chance of getting stats that are plus 25 or better for your badges. I believe it's 25, 30, and 35. So you can see that the int 25 dropped there, but there'll be all the different ones: spirit, power, so on and so forth, endurance, and you can get even higher stats. So very good rewards here if you finish some of the other dungeons. Now, a question that some of you may be asking is, hey, Will, if I haven't finished the other dungeons or gotten everything from them, what should I do? And my answer is usually the same. Work from the most oldest dungeon, get everything, and slowly work your way to the newest dungeon, unless you absolutely need some of the items from the newest dungeon. And of course, what we're looking for here are the special modification ores to enhance your grasta. Some of the awesome ones that people are using for fighting are, for example, Bullseye. There's some other ones. There's also some new grasta. I think they're called Deadly Blow. That basically, if you equip it, it's 30% increased crit damage. And so I'm sure a lot of team comps for end games will require a combination of multiples of those. For the grasta, for the Deadly Blow, I believe you can only buy one of each weapon type. So, not too bad. I mean, you can buy a bow and a lance for a pierce team, for example, a katana and a sword for a slash team, and so on and so forth. Either way, very awesome. Each of those costs, like I said, one cat dogu, or I think 180 of the sea drifts. And I would recommend not using sea drifts for that. I would recommend using sea drifts for just buying the minimum to unlock those new areas to get the 3 pieces of gear, as well as that soul jewel to transport between the different dummies. And then, of course, using everything else for tickets, which is the mural fragments, to enhance your chance of getting chant scripts and other things like that. But of course, everyone plays differently, and no one way is right. Same thing, kill the horror, get the sea drifts, and so on and so forth. So you can see that we've already explored a number of different areas. And a reminder again, make sure you do the 0 point first so that you get the sea drift just like outside the city of the Angle City in future Garalia. Okay, so this is the cathedral. I believe we've done the Demon's Den, and there's actually, I believe, well, we did this the mural area, which is the Mark of God's Tomb, and finally there's one more called Ark of the Underworld. So 3 normal areas and 1 that requires a ticket. So same thing as before, without using a bar, it gets really dicey and able to handle those horrors. And another 2 sea drift. So in terms of which areas to use the single item to kind of unlock the area for the wooden chest that unlocks the whole map, you can obviously look it up online. Japan Ultima website has it. However, if you don't want to do that, just when you explore it for the first time, explore it wholly and look for the one exclamation mark that kind of seems far off from the others. Usually you can kind of tell from the map that the exclamation mark kind of, like for example the one right on top of us, kind of leads directly up so that we can go shortcut and walk through faster. If the exclamation mark's kind of to the side, then you know that's almost leading nowhere except to a secret room. And so that's the one I would use the special item for. So let's see if we can find that one here. And this is, so you can see that one's on its own. That would be the one I would unlock with the item that you buy from the shop. Of course, you want to buy more than one item. That just makes it easier for you to walk all the way through each and every run for the future. But I'm pretty cheap. I only buy the one unless absolutely necessary. So I'll grab that on a future run because, sometimes you just don't have enough items or those sea drift to trade in. I think each of them costs 6 if you want to do that. Oh, you want to start off with Pierce? Let me counter with Flash Strike. Alright, and we're going to bar down as usual. Nice and simple. And Aeris Clark again, dealt all the damage. So how is everyone finding new update and new dungeons? I do find that this is a great update. A lot of QOL updates, especially for the main characters. And yes, I will be doing 5-star review of those in the coming days and weeks. And not only that, lots of new rewards, lots of new grasta. You can even get Dragon Bearer Psalms here. And of course, more Shadow for Altina. However, I will say that because the update is so large with all the different things, it's a little bit of pressure to kind of finish as much as you can. So I will say, if you are finding it a little bit tough to kind of keep up, don't worry. All the content is permanent, and I have to tell myself that regularly as well because at the end of the day, Gamer Dad is a working dad, and there's only limited amounts of time to play the game. So again, we need to buy one of each of those. So the next time I go to each of those areas, I will lock it. Alright, so this is the Genesis Dogu that you buy from the shop, and that finally unlocks a different area to explore, which I talked about, Ark of the Underworld. So this is our 3rd area that's not the mural fragment. So again, this is a free area you can enter in repeatedly. And that's pretty much it. So enemies again are very similar to the Ark that you've already seen when you're exploring through. A lot of them are weak to slash or crystal, wind. I'm sure by now you're an expert on finding the weaknesses of these enemies as you fight through. And a reminder that just like every other area, this area will have that one secret room that you'll need to unlock with one of those items that you have to buy. Alright. And see, that's why some people do buy these special items to kind of cut through right there. You can save a few seconds of walking. Although, if you are running into a lot of enemies and you just want to save some time, just equip upgraded grasta that has the minus enemy encounters. You'll save a lot of time. The downside to that, of course, is not only are you not gaining any XP or fragments, which some people need, you are also not getting the 100 of each kill that you need to get some extra chrono stone. So keep that in mind when you are trying to save time. You want to kind of balance killing off the 100 while you're just exploring as usual versus not doing that and kind of shortcutting yourself a little bit. And we're going to move on. Again, 4 chests in each area, and none of them contain a chant script. So again, this one looks on its own, and we're going to go right in and get the map. And so everything is opened up, and you can see the very far right exclamation would probably be the area that you're going to use have to go to get the purple sparkle. Remember that there's 1 purple sparkle in each area, and you will need the 2 cat dogu to trade in order to get the key to kind of claim each and every one, which is 1 piece of gear times 3 for a total of 3 different gear. The gear is not bad. Top level defensive stats, although it's actually a combination of the previous one where it gives both physical and type resistance. I think it's plus 10 of each, but so extra mini shield, not bad for defensive fights, especially against endgame bosses, although if you're going for DPS, those are not the gear you'll be using anyways. So I believe all 4 chests have now been claimed. Time to take on the boss for the last time. Okay. I never actually equip any enemy encounter down. Sometimes I do feel that would be much better for running these dungeons, especially the larger maps. As you can see here, there's actually a lot of exploration. And just wandering back and forth, going to get a bar. And if you're wondering why I'm not going over to that far right area to kind of claim the gear, I can do that in a future run, especially since at this point in the video I did not have the 2 cat dogus to trade in here. Okay, bar's ready to go. Let's go take on the boss. And we face off against the Lady Hamika. But we're not going to treat her like a leader. We're going to smack her down and end the fight right there and then. And once she turns back to normal, then we can talk to her as usual. Okay. Very similar in stats and in terms of HP as the others. A few million HP and we're done. Okay, let's see what kind of rewards we get. Now that's nice. Fearless Circulus Treaties, and that's my second one so far. So at 1 more, I could technically buy 2 more if needed. And another Altina, not bad at all. Now the thing about Altina, haven't really revisited her, but she seems very weak for a story character, considering she is, spoiler alert, related to the Sacred Beast from earlier on. So I would imagine that when you absorb the power of some legendary beast, you should be extremely powerful. But I mean, her damage and everything seems a little bit lacking. I hope they actually give her a boost in her stats, just like they gave a boost to a lot of our main characters as before. And again, saving some time with that soul jewel, warping all her hair. Okay, so once you got the ladder, you can trade in the cat dogu to this gentleman. And that's the key you want. So he's going to be the one to give you the key to get all those pieces of gear once you get them. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.